Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Wealth After Work, the show dedicated to helping you successfully to and through your retirement. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and joining me this week is Josiah Grauso. He is the Vice President and Senior Investment Advisor at ASC Financial Group. We've got a great show for you today. The title of today's show is Taxing Times: Navigating the Hidden Costs of Your Social Security. Josiah, my friend, great to be back with you. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, Kristen. I love being here, and I know we're going to have a whole lot of fun today.
Oh, I know, for sure. This is a juicy subject we're going to get into, a lot to unpack, and I just wanted to help our viewers understand. We recently did a show all about Social Security. You got a huge response, a lot of folks calling in, a lot of people wanting to come in and meet with you, because we know that this is a very confusing subject that folks really do need a lot of help with.
Yeah, it really is. And I think it's an important topic because here's the thing. When you talk about Social Security, Kristen, that's going to encompass almost 40% of an average retiree's retirement income. So
Yes.
It's important to understand how Social Security works.
It's a huge chunk. It's a huge piece of someone's overall retirement income puzzle. And what I think is so fascinating is a lot of financial advisors or planners out there don't even have this kind of conversation with their clients when it comes to Social Security. They don't engage in Social Security planning, but this is something that you do for folks.
No, it absolutely is. I mean, one of the things that we find, especially with some of those larger broker mentalities that you have, is that whenever this question of Social Security comes up, a lot of times it's just delay, or wait till 70, you get the most amount of Social Security then. Or they say, I mean, just turn it on, or you might have to go talk to somebody else. Or the worst thing that they could say is go call the Social Security Administration.
Yep.
Because, Kristen, I don't know if you know this or not, but they're only order takers.
Yes.
They're not going to provide advice for you and telling you what is the best strategy, what's the best thing for you. You should know that and need to tell them what it is.
Well, they're not allowed to. I mean, I've literally talked to people who work for the Social Security Administration, and that is a reality. They are allowed to give you information, but they are not allowed to give you individualized, personalized advice based on your unique situation. And, you know, there's so many personal factors that far outweigh the math. But just to kind of set up the context for today's discussion, let's start with some of the common basic questions that I know you get all the time for folks when it comes to Social Security.
Yeah, great. So one of the things I love is talking about this topic here. And one of the first questions I usually ask my audience whenever I do my Social Security workshops or classes that we do for the community is, number one, does everybody qualify for Social Security? Unfortunately, the answer is no. Not everybody does qualify. You have to earn a certain number of credits or quarters, and that number is 40. That equals about 10 years worth of work.
Of paying into the system, right?
Paying into the system.
Yep.
But I do want to stop right there for a second, Kristen. I don't want to scare any of you viewers at home here. And I want to tell you a little bit of a story here of a woman who came in to just see me probably about 8 months ago. When she came in to talk to me and took a look at what we offer at ASC Financial Group, one of the things that she asked about, or we talked about, was Social Security. And when I asked her, she goes, oh, I'm a mother of 7 children. I stayed home with them. I don't have Social Security. First of all, 7 children, God bless your heart.
Right?
My mom and dad, they had 5. I'm the youngest of 5. They stopped at perfection. Okay. But you know, the first thing I said to Jenny is, number one, thank you for taking that time to be there for your children. Because my wife was a stay-at-home mom while my children were younger. And I remember her sending this picture she was in the bathroom and it was facing at the door, and underneath the door there were 10 fingers and 4 sets of paws from our 2 dogs. Okay. No. So I know for you mothers and fathers who are at home, it is a thankless job, but thank you so much for what you do. But getting back to Jenny here, Jenny, one of the things I told her is, I said, Jenny, here's some great news. Even though you didn't work those credits, because she's married and her spouse did, she was allowed to get up to 50% of his Social Security benefit.
The spousal benefit,
The spousal benefit that they have. So she just had a huge sigh of relief from there. The second question people do say, though, is, well, how much of my working does the Social Security look at? And it's the highest 35 years of your work history that Social Security looks at. And one of the keys is there for all my teachers at home If you have a couple of zeros on tests, on quizzes, on projects, what does that do to your grade point average?
Brings it down.
Pulls it down.
Yep.
So you want to make sure you're actually taking a look at your Social Security statements. Because, Kristen, I'm going to tell you a shocking statement out there. Do you know that government makes mistakes? So if we've got some zeros and they're not supposed to be there, we need to make sure we're correcting them that we have. And the last thing people talk about, well, what are the different ages I can file? And so those different ages are going to be a little bit different from everybody, but the three main ages that we talk about is your early benefit, which is at age 62. That's the earliest we could take Social Security out. We will get a reduction and possibly some penalties. I think we're going to talk about that in a moment.
Yep.
We have full retirement age. That's going to be age 66 to 67 for most of our viewers out there. It is based on the year of birth, depending on where you were.
Right, and there's a chart you can look up, right?
Yep, generally between 1954, you're 66, and then 1955, they add 2 months all the way up until if you were born in 1960 or later, it is now 67. And then finally, you've got what's called a delayed retirement credit. And that's where you can earn 8% a year for every year you delay Social Security.
Yes, 8% increase, which is huge for a lot of folks.
Yeah, you're talking about that's a difference between around 24 up to 32%, depending on if you were that age 62 or not, or 66, excuse me, full retirement age. But yeah, that's an important, impactful thing to really take a look at.
It is. Well, you know, again, today's show, we're going to focus a lot on the hidden costs and navigating these hidden costs of Social Security. And so I'm curious, let's talk about some of the hidden costs behind these claiming strategies that you just mentioned.
Yeah, so let's talk about what happens if you claim Social Security early and you decide to still work. Well, first of all, if you claim Social Security early, there's going to be about a 25% reduction in your Social Security benefit. Okay, one of the keys I want to make sure we talk about out here that we understand is that decision is a permanent decision. The government only allows you to do a do-over one time. It has to be in the first year, and you have to pay all of that money back.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
And this is an area where really the Social Security Administration does not like you to kind of double dip here. Okay, they don't want you collecting your penalty, your benefit and paying and collecting an income, an earned income that you have.
Right.
In fact, one of the things I like to talk about is a little bit of my client to let you know how that penalty works. Right now, the amount we are allowed to make is $22,320 before we have that penalty.
For the year.
For the year.
Yes.
For every $2 over, $1 of your Social Security is forfeited. I have a client, and she was a teacher during 2020 when that COVID situation happened. She's a kindergarten teacher. And she did not want to have to teach these little kids on their computer. That could have been really, really difficult.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, really difficult from there. And so she decided she was going to go ahead and retire. And she started her Social Security benefit at age 62.
Okay.
But what happened the following year? The school started opening back up.
Right.
She kind of went back to what she decided, you know what, I miss these kids, and she wanted to go back to work. She decided to go back to work a year later. Here's the key. She noticed her Social Security benefit drastically dropped.
Yep.
You see, not only did she get that reduction, she was getting about $2,800 a month of what Social Security should have been at full retirement age.
Right.
Dropped down to $2,100 a month with the early benefit.
Right.
But then she went back to work. She was making over $49,000 a year. She wound up now spending, for every $2 over, $1 of her Social Security was forfeited. She wound up losing almost 66% of that Social Security benefit because she decided to claim that benefit a little bit earlier.
And I'm sure those decisions were made before she met with you, so she wasn't even aware of what had happened, right?
Absolutely, she didn't. And that's one of the things when she kind of talked to me, she's like, Josiah, I wish I would have talked to somebody like you a little bit earlier.
Right.
And so, folks, that's why I want to let you know at home, if you're not too sure what the time is to start claiming your Social Security benefit, if you don't know how your Social Security benefit maybe fits into your overall retirement income plan, if you're not too sure if you have enough money to retire, I'm going to encourage you to give a call at the number below. You can speak with somebody there. They'll set you up a time to come meet at one of our offices. We'll take you through what we call our retirement income analysis process. And we'll go over a lot of these topics in order to just find out what is the right information for you.
Josiah, thank you. I know so much goes into this important conversation. I'm excited for more folks to connect with you as a result of today's show. So if any of this is resonating with you, maybe you're learning things you hadn't known or heard before. Maybe you know that you need help navigating through this important Social Security decision for yourself. This is why the team of ASC Financial Group would love to be able to meet with you. Again, this is completely complimentary. So to claim your complimentary retirement income analysis, we invite you to pick up the phone and call that number you see on the bottom of your screen. 844-918-4867. Or if you'd rather connect online, we've got you covered. If you simply pull out your smartphone, you can open up the camera app, just point, click, and scan that QR code that you see there down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That will take you over to a landing page, ask you a few short, simple questions, and then a member of the team from ASC Financial Group will reach out to connect with you to schedule your complimentary meeting that way as well. Don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more to cover on today's subject of navigating the hidden costs of your Social Security benefit right after this.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carol and 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there every square. Happy birthday to you. You can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion...
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Wealth After Work. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, here with Josiah Grauso. He is the Vice President and Senior Investment Advisor at ASC Financial Group, serving all of Northeast PA, Western New Jersey, and a really great conversation that we are having today about navigating the hidden costs of your Social Security benefit. You know, Josiah, as if the calculation wasn't confusing enough for folks to figure out, right? Then you have the timing conversation of when is the optimal time for me to take my Social Security. Then, as you shared in the previous segment, that woman who came to you and said, I wish I had met with you sooner because she had made a claiming decision but was still working, and unfortunately that negatively affected her benefit. I mean, so much goes into this.
It really does. It really does. And that's where I would like to kind of start off from there too. And let's talk about what are some reasons why we still really want to start collecting Social Security early. Mm-hmm. And for some people, you know, maybe their job downsized, maybe they lost their job, and Medicare doesn't start until age 65. Mm-hmm. So they need a little bit of help in order to bridge that gap. And so they start their Social Security benefit in order to help that income. And again, that's one of the things, Kristen, I think is really important, is making sure we understand that we are getting right advice at the right time. Mm-hmm. Let me talk to you about Shelly, who came to my office. Okay. Shelly's from Walnutport in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And Shelly worked for the VA, and she came to see me about 3 months after she had retired. And Shelly is 63 years old. And Shelly was saying, you know, Josiah, I couldn't physically do the job anymore, and I need to retire. But here's the problem. As I'm starting to, you know, I have my pension and my money coming in, but I'm consistently short about $1,000 a month. And so because Shelly was short about $1,000 a month, she was starting to draw from her emergency savings, from her income, from her savings that she has. And the savings started to get down lower and lower and lower. And this was really stressing Shelly out.
Rightly so, I can imagine. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. And so as I was talking with Shelly, and I was trying to kind of go over some questions from her and finding out some plans that she had, one of the things that we got to was Social Security. And she mentioned, she's like, well, I have a Social Security, but I don't want to turn it on. And I said, well, Shelly, why is that? She goes, well, I had gone to this Social Security seminar by this credit union down by me, and the guy told me, you don't want to turn your Social Security on until you're age 70. You want to let it go and grow as far and large as it can, but maybe you can do it a little bit early at 66. So I heard what he said, and I don't want to do that. And so I looked at her and I said, Shelly, are you planning on going back to work? She says, no, I just can't physically do the job anymore. Like, Shelly, I think it's really important you start that Social Security benefit now. You start drawing it out. If you're not going to go back to work, you don't have to worry about that earnings
limit
reductions, that earnings limit that we talked about. But I'm like, you're able to draw that money out. That's why the government gives us the ability to do that at times. And this was the perfect time for you. Now, Shelly didn't have a lot of other assets around, and there's really not much else we could help with. She didn't become a client of ours, but that's okay. Because at the end of the meeting, Shelly gave this big sigh of relief. And then she had this huge smile on her face. And that's because she goes, you know, Josiah, not only do I know that I have that $1,000 that I missed from taking from my savings that I needed, but now the Social Security benefit was $1,900. She's now adding another $900 to her savings, building that back up. So there are good reasons why we would need to do that at times, Kristen.
You know what I love about that story, Josiah, is it just proves that there's not a one-size-fits-all strategy. Really, it depends on so many personal factors that can far outweigh the math. This is why, as we've talked about on previous shows, it's about optimizing your Social Security. Because if you want to maximize it, the blanket statement of, sure, wait till 70 to turn it on, but guess what? That might not be right for you in your situation. And this is why there's no substitute for really sitting down in the financial planning environment, working with professionals such as yourselves to really determine, okay, does this make sense? Is it in your best interest based on your individual situation?
Yeah, that's a great thing, Kristen, is, again, not everybody fits into the same boat. Not everybody needs the same thing. What is right for you, or what's right for your neighbor, what's right for your colleague, might be disastrous for you. And so that's why I encourage you, if you're not too sure what the right opportunity is, if you're not too sure what that right plan is, I'm going to encourage you to go ahead, give us a call at the number below here, and take some time, reach out. A team from the ASC Financial Group will help get you along here with us. We'll sit down in a very relaxed, comfortable environment. We will only discuss the things that are important to you, but we will be able to provide this retirement income analysis that includes a Social Security optimization report, saying based on a couple of these different factors, because again, it's not just about the math, it's about optimizing our Social Security. And with that report, we'll be able to determine what would be maybe right for you to do that. So if that's you at home, please give us a call at the number below, and we'll be able to sit down.
Wonderful. Josiah, thank you so much. Again, that number to call is there on the bottom of your screen, 844-918-4867. Or again, you're also welcome to scan that QR code. That will also get you connected in order for you to come in and receive your very own complimentary retirement income analysis from the team of ASC Financial Group. When we come back, we're going to be diving into one of the most prominent hidden costs of your Social Security benefit that a lot of folks aren't even aware of. Stay with us to find out what that is and how you can take steps even now to proactively protect yourself against it. We'll be back after this.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Wealth After Work, where today we are discussing navigating the hidden costs of your Social Security benefit. Are you aware of all these hidden costs and what steps you can be taking proactively even now to help mitigate those for yourself? And Josiah, here's the big one that we have to talk about. It's the taxation of Social Security. And here's what's really eye-opening for a lot of folks. When Social Security was first created, we were told that it was never going to be taxed, right? When it was created by FDR. Well, times have changed. You might say that they are taxing times, right? But now the reality is that up to 85% of one's Social Security benefit could be taxed. So we got to talk about this. This is a hidden cost that a lot of folks aren't even aware of.
No, absolutely. It's a huge thing that's happening out there. And it drives me crazy how we kind of have these stealthy taxes here. So let's talk about politicians and our government here. And I don't care if you're out there, if you're Republican, Democrat, Green Party, Independent here.
Right.
Let's talk about, you know what the first thing a politician does when they're first elected? They start working on their re-election campaign. Why? They want to stay in office as long as they can. And so what are the jobs that the politicians have and that they do? Well, one of them is to raise revenue for the government. And how do they do that? They tax us on that money.
Yep.
And so, you know, when even though FDR said, I'm never going to tax you on this Social Security, we take a look at President Reagan in office in 1983, and he had an advisor come up to him and said, you know what, President Reagan, there's a whole slew of retirees out there collecting Social Security tax-free. So let's do this. If you make too much money, we're going to tax you on it. So he said if you were single, you made more than $25,000, or married more than $32,000, 50% of your Social Security was now going to be taxed.
Right.
Fast forward 10 years later, President Clinton is in office, and you know, he's deathly afraid to raise taxes. Why? His predecessor, Bush 41, said, read my lips, no new taxes. He raised taxes and he wasn't reelected.
Yep.
So President Clinton was worried about this. And so one of his advisors came up to him and says, you know what, President Clinton, there's a whole slew of seniors that were taxed on their Social Security in the Reagan administration, and nobody complained about it. So let's do this. Let's raise that. He says, okay. So now if you're single and you made more than $34,000 or married more than $44,000, 85% of your Social Security was going to be subject to tax. Now, I don't know about you, Kristen. I don't know how it was in Little Rock, Arkansas, but you've got to make $40,000 here in the Northeast just to be able to pay your property taxes.
Right. I mean, and that's the problem, that the income limits have never been adjusted in the last 30 years, right? Think of all the inflation we've had over that time.
Yep.
It's so maddening.
Absolutely. I was just about to say that. They've never been indexed to inflation. That is absolutely crazy.
Yep. Yep. So here's the problem. So now you're in retirement, and it's compounded because most Americans have the majority of their wealth saved up in these tax-deferred accounts, right? Your 401ks, your traditional IRAs. So people have been accumulating, putting that money away. Again, it's kind of a gotcha, right? Because we were told that was a really good thing for us to put the money in these tax-deferred accounts. It'll grow tax-deferred. You hit retirement and you take the money out. Supposedly, you'll be in a lower tax bracket.
Yep.
Well, now when you're required to take the money out, guess what that can do? That can trigger the tax on your Social Security, right?
Absolutely. And so that's a great point here when we talk about provisional income. When they said if you made too much money, and how much is too much money that we have.
Yep.
And that's the thing. If you have any taxable interest, any tax-free interest, including those municipal bond funds that you have, they take a look at any of your earned income, any of your interest, your dividends that you have, any of your pensions, and then your IRA distributions, whether it be IRAs, 401ks, or 403bs, are all added into that number up until including 50% of your Social Security is all added in that number. And so now when you are at what's called required minimum distribution age, age 73, if we've ever saved in any of these kind of qualified vehicles, these IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, we actually had an agreement with the government. And that agreement was when we pay money into these accounts, they're not going to tax us on that money.
Right.
Nor they're not going to tax us any of the interest that it earns.
All sounds great, right?
All sounds great until you get to a certain age. Right now at age 73, they say we want that tax money. and they start taking that, and they require you to start taking that money out.
Yes, RMDs are non-negotiable. If you don't take them out, guess what? You get penalized. You get an excise tax on top of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's very restrictive. You have to be a certain age before you can take it out.
Right.
And then if you're at this age, you have to take it out from here. But because the RMDs are based on life expectancy, meaning the longer you live, the more of your IRA you have to take out.
Right.
That larger that distribution is. And so because you're having to take out more, tends to be we're having to now hit tax on that. I find often those who are really in their 60s collecting Social Security tend to receive more of that Social Security benefit than those who are in their 70s and 80s. Why is that? Because at their 70s and 80s that they have now, if they weren't paying tax on that Social Security before, when they get to RMD age, they're now going to be paying tax on that Social Security.
Yeah, gosh, so it's like all these convoluted roads, rivers are leading into each other into creating a ticking tax time bomb for a lot of folks that they aren't even aware that they're going to run into, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely, that you have there.
So how do you help folks navigate this? How do you help them with your retirement income analysis and the plans that you build for folks? How do you help them be prepared to navigate this successfully?
Yeah, so I know we only have about a minute left here or so, Kristen. So I just want to say to everybody out in the audience there, I hope you really enjoyed this show. I hope you took some valuable information from it. But one of the things we love to do is just to sit down with you, understand maybe what your goals are, what your dreams are, what your aspirations are. We're going to go over a very friendly conversation, just understanding, getting to know you a little bit better. And we're going to take you through a process called our retirement income analysis. And with that retirement income analysis, we're going to be able to give you this Social Security optimization report that's going to be able to determine what would be really the best time for you to turn on your Social Security based on your situation. But don't forget that Social Security is only one part of your overall income plan. We still want to make sure we understand what are going to be the issues for taxes, what are going to be the issues for legacy planning, for healthcare planning. And this is all something that's provided in this retirement income report. At ASC Financial Group, one of the things I love to say is we provide solutions and strategies, not products, for you to have your dream retirement. A retirement that's built to last.
Absolutely. Well, I know that's the heartbeat and passion of what you do day in and day out. So thank you so much for joining us. Again, that number to call is there on the bottom of your screen, 844-918-4867. Be safe, be happy, be blessed, and we look forward to being back with you next time here on Wealth After Work.